Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the show. This is the Collaborators Unite podcast. Chuck Anderson here, your host, and this is the show where we serve big impact experts. And that's you if you are on a mission to make a big positive impact in the lives of your clients, maybe even your community, possibly even the world, depending on what the scope of your project is. But what we know about you from the conversations we've had and the surveys we've done is that you prioritize impact over profits. And of course, we want you to be as profitable as possible so you can make that bigger impact. And part of doing that is exposure. It's visibility. It's building your authority. And there really is no better way to do that than with a book. And today, we've talked about books before, but we are going to shine light on what it would take. What if you could be a paid author? What if you could actually get a book deal with a publisher? And I know you've been told that today nobody gets book deals anymore. You should self-publish. We are going to destroy that myth today. I have Ruth Klein with me here today. She is an expert in all of this, and we've enjoyed having our preliminary conversations about this, where we should have recorded that, Ruth, because we were already getting some great content in. But welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Chuck. It's so great to be here.
Yeah, I'm happy that you're here. And, we were just, chatting about this whole idea of people have been told that you can't get a book deal. Traditional publishing is dead. You should self-publish. Just take all your hard work and put it on Amazon and hope for the best. And you're here to say that's not true. And you've got some really cool things to share about that. So
Yeah,
yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Well, go ahead and share a little bit more. Share your thoughts on that and a little bit more. I'm not even doing you justice, I don't think. I'll let you introduce yourself and
Okay.
all about that. We'll dive in from there.
All right. So I'm Ruth Klein, and I'm a 7 times best-selling author, all traditionally published. And I remember the first time I went to a writers conference, Chuck, and the first night I was there, I called home and said, "I don't know what I'm doing here. I shouldn't be here. They're all published authors." And Ray Bradbury was the opening speaker. Charlie Schultz from Peanuts had his, he was there, and they have a newsletter. And it was in Santa Barbara. And so it was just like, what am I doing here? And then I remember calling home and saying, I need to go home because I don't know who I thought I was. What was I thinking? And on the other side, my husband said, no, you're going to stay because we paid for it. So such a male comment. And
such a great reason to stay too.
It is, though. Yeah, it is. But oh my God, I had tummy aches all week. All week, I couldn't keep any food down because I thought I was an imposter. I had no idea what I was doing. And I went to a book marketing. And I thought, you know what? I'm very results oriented. I'm going to find a literary agent. And so I go to a book marketing class, and I asked this gal next to me all these questions. I didn't know she was the speaker. I didn't know she was a literary agent. So she gets up and she goes, if you're going to write a book, and this is many years ago, you need to know XYZ, not like that gal over there. She ended up being my first literary agent.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
So she's in the class. You're listening to whatever expert is teaching you this.
She's teaching it. Well, right. She's teaching it. And she was just sitting in the audience at the time. So I just, I just happened to be there.
Mm-hmm. And then what great fortune to be sitting right beside the person you needed.
Exactly. But boy, oh boy. And then a lot of times, at least in Santa Barbara, they have pirate workshops where you can go. It starts at 9 p.m. and can go to 2 a.m. So it's, and I had a little bit of a book proposal written, and there were people there, and they got up and shared in front of her. And I thought, oh, you're kidding, when I saw her. And it was like 11 p.m. And it's like, I gotta get up there. 11:30, I gotta get up there. It's 11:55 and 8 p.m. And I think to myself, even Cinderella knew what to do at midnight. So I stuck my hand up like this. She called me. I got up. She goes, do you have a book proposal? I said, I'm beginning. She goes, okay. So I get up. I start reading it. She goes, enough. Do you have more? I said, yes. She said, send it to me. and the rest is history. So
Wow.
I'm sharing that because we all start, especially with book writing. Who are we to get a book deal? That's not going to happen. Traditional publishers don't exist anymore, really. They're hard to reach. Literary agents, they won't call me back. They won't email, which is true. And you've got to know how to approach them. But I'm here to tell you that all my books have been traditionally published. I help my clients get book deals with traditional publishers. Now, what does it take? It takes a winning book proposal. It takes being able to put together a pitch. If you're in person, I was sharing with you, Chuck, this October 22nd through the 25th, I have a 4-day live event where I have literary agents coming and traditional publishers coming and a producer that takes books to cinema, another producer book to docu-shorts, podcast hosts right there. And we're going to work on developing the pitch. It's so important. And then the idea is a literary agent will say, would you have a book proposal? Because they have to have that in order to sell it to the publisher. And the publisher, you'll talk to the publisher, and the publisher will say, do you have a book proposal? What are they really interested in? They want to know how they're going to get their money back. It's approximately $20,000 plus to get a good book out, between the editing, which is expensive, professional editing, the cover, all of that. So they want to know, Ruth, how am I going to get my $25,000 back? So that book proposal becomes a book plan. And it better show all the things I'm doing and what I'm going to do and all of that. People say, but Ruth, I don't have a platform. I don't have a high platform. A platform being, I don't have 100,000 people, followers. I don't either, but I have access. That's the key word, people, access. If you were put together all the people you know and your partners and your joint ventures, between all of you, you would have access to over 100,000, maybe even 200,000. Think about that. And that's how we want to say that, because if you have affiliates or if you have friends that are going to or celebrities, not celebrities in terms of acting, but high influencer, and they might have 5,000, 8,000 followers, and they're willing to do something on social media or something, you have access. You're getting in front of those people. So it's really, really important. And, we've so many people today, Chuck, as we were talking, that they've been fed a bill of goods of scare tactics. You either have to self-publish, or get a hybrid publisher. And the zeitgeist out there is, a traditional publisher, if you could get one, but you have to know how to do it, right? You have to know how to get on a podcast too. So if you want to get a traditional publisher, well, they're going to change your work. They're going to change the title. It's going to take 2-3 years to get it published. Bull roar. I have all those books. Nothing like that has ever happened. The editorials people are so kind. They'll take a paragraph or a sentence and they'll make it better, and they'll say, is this okay? And I go, yes. Or if it's a weird thing and I want the weird thing and they want to change it to this, I go, no, I'd like it the other way. They go, okay. All these times. And I will tell you, Chuck, you will never have the distribution opportunity that you do with a traditional publisher. You just won't. Now, people will say, but Ruth, do they market your book? No, they don't market your book. Nobody markets your book. And if you have a publisher or even a hybrid publisher that says they'll market your book, which means I'll get it on Amazon for you, I'll get it into a Kindle, that's basically it. So the author is always, always responsible for book marketing. Now, I believe a book is a living entity. It breathes, it has a heart, because it's your words, the high frequency of your words, of your knowledge. It's in the Library of Congress. It's a legacy. It's going to be there generations longer than you. I mean, it's huge to write a book. Huge. It is not a business card. No. It's not a business card.
Yeah, we hear that a lot. It's like, oh, your book is your business card. It's, and I think it's a lot of the self-publishing people that are saying that. And why do you think that we are being told that traditional publishing is dead? You should do the self-publishing, you should put it on Amazon, you should do all of that. Why are we being told that when you know better than others that the traditional publishing is still a very viable and probably even better, and you can maybe even speak to why it's better, and I think you have to some degree already, but why are we being told this?
Well, number one, how do hybrid publishers make money? They get paid to publish the book.
Hmm.
And how do self-publishing coaches get paid? By showing people how to self-publish. Now, something right off the bat that you must know, do not publish on Amazon. Because if you do, Amazon does not respect authors so much, and bookstores know that. Bookstores will not. I love Amazon, don't get me wrong. They sell a lot of books. My books are on Amazon. I send people to Amazon, but I don't recommend getting published on Amazon because a bookstore will not carry it and they won't special order it. So what do? There's another one called Ingram Sparks, and it's also free. And you publish it. If you're going to self-publish it, publish it on that. Then bookstores will order it. Right now, I'm working with a client who had a hybrid publisher publish his book, really nice book, and we're doing a book tour. So this is very important. You don't, if you self-publish or you don't want to bring your own books. You want the bookstore to purchase your books from, well, they won't do it from Amazon, but they'll do it from Ingram Sparks or from a hybrid publisher. And you guarantee, say that you say, if you could order 20, and I will guarantee that if you don't sell it, I'll pay you what you paid for it. And my guy is doing that plus 10%. And so the bookstore promotes it. We have some great footage, great B-roll. We took pictures. We had, I think, 25 people there. It was awesome. And the bookstore ordered the books. And my client even signed the books, just a few books that weren't sold, but he's guaranteeing that he'll pay the cost, same amount that the bookstore. Why? Because you want it to track so that when you're ready with your second book or even with this book, so it's his first book. So far, we have about 160 to 200 books being bought from bookstores. And then he's coming in October, and we're going to tell the agent and the publisher, by the way, because they're going to ask, how many books have you sold? We're going to say, well, we've sold over 200 books just with bookstores in the last 10 weeks. And we also are getting ready to do book clubs. So, and they're going to go, huh, because that tells them people want this book. So you have a good chance with a strong book proposal to get a book deal.
Amazing. And so with this, okay, so I know a lot of people who are first-time authors, especially, they get this idea, okay, I'm gonna do a book. I'm gonna write it. And the very first thing they do is they go and they write chapter 1. And if I'm hearing correctly, the book proposal is probably even more important than the book. So speak to that a little bit, because writers want to write. They want to, they're getting their words out there and everything, but the proposal is not about the content of the book. This is what I'm hearing. It's not about the content of the book. It's about how you're going to market the book.
A part of it. It's all of
Okay.
it. It's
Yeah.
all of it.
Okay. All right.
So you're very astute to realize that. So a book proposal is very has different categories, if you will. First, the description. Why this book? Why you are the person to write this book? Why now? That's a section. Then you have to list nonfiction. You have to list all the chapters and maybe a little paragraph. that's what's in the chapters. And maybe I like my clients to do like 4 to 6 bullets, which is so awesome because by the time you sit and write your book, it's right there. It's so cool. It makes it so much easier. And then there is a book comparison. How is your book the same or different from other books that have sold well? Then you need to do that piece. Then you have a marketing section. Crucial. You have a PR section. Crucial. And then you only need 2 chapters so they can kind of see your writing. So what do? You get a professional editor. This is not the time to not spend money. Get a professional editor to edit your chapters. Get someone like me to overlook your book proposal and clean it up so you're ready to pitch.
So, are there any other mistakes that people are making that make this more difficult than it needs to be?
So, first of all, with all due respect, I'm going to say something that I experienced. When I first started writing the book, I just kind of threw up on the page. There was no structure. There was no strategy. I had to go to so many writing groups and mostly retreats and all kinds of things to learn this. And so you need what's called a developmental editor. You need a book coach, but you need a good one. You need one, if you want a traditional publisher, only get a book coach that is traditionally published. They know what to look for. They know the level of quality that's necessary. With my clients, we start off with strategy and structure. And there have been 3 times, Chuck, where I've interviewed people and they said they want to write this book. And I said, well, I have to tell you, this is not the book to do what you want to do. And they've gotten upset with me to the point where one gal was very upset with me because I can't help them write the book. I just can't. And then have them think it's going to do X, Y, Z because I know it's not. So 3 years later, she comes back, she calls and she says, are you the Ruth Klein that helps people write books? Yes. She came over. I have a security building, so I was safe. And she started crying. And she said, Ruth, you're right. I wasted 3 years. That wasn't the book. And I'm sorry to say that, but I had another client. It was a referral, and she had a book coach. She published it. She was ready to get a PR firm, and nothing was happening in the book. I believe if your book is not helping you make tens of thousands of dollars, not by selling $20 books, but what it can do for you, because a book, I believe, is a centerpiece of your career if you do it correctly. And so nothing was happening. She was depressed. Someone said, you've got to talk to Ruth. And she sent me and I interviewed her and I said, I am so sorry. The only thing I would keep in this book, Chuck, was the cover. She goes, no, Ruth, you don't understand. I had a book coach, I had a publisher, and I'm going to get a PR company. I said, please don't get the PR. Don't work with me. Go with the PR. Do not go with the PR person because this book doesn't represent you. And believe it or not, I helped her rewrite the book, a whole new book. And she had her first $10,000 weekend. That's when you know your book is a centerpiece of who you are and what you do. And it's interesting because when you write a book with my clients, you can't just write a book without identifying your brand. That's why I'm also, I love to say I'm everything brands and books. You cannot write a best-selling book without knowing what your brand is, without being really clear on what you do, how you do it differently, what your unique thumbprint is, on and on and on. And then we show all of that in the book. So that by the time people read the book and we give them they now want to work with you. It's not about selling $20 books, $15 books, certain ebooks. It's about helping people help themselves and hiring you to help them get the impact, whatever that impact is, that your book is about. Because we writers, we write because we've experienced things and we don't want people to have to do it the hard way anymore. We want to help people. That's why we write books. And with whether it's a fiction book, we want to tell a story. But fiction authors, so much of it is about them or a composite of them and other people. I just love that. I love that. And then the nonfiction books, it's just, it takes a lot of courage to write a book. It takes a lot of courage. And, books can save lives. Books can change the trajectory of a career, of a relationship, of a life. Yeah, I love books. You could just drop me off at a bookstore and just come get me a week later.
Yeah, well, I can feel the passion coming through the video here. I love it. So that it's clear for people who are listening, what comes first? Do you write the book first and then the proposal, or do you write the proposal first and then the book, or do you do them concurrently? How do you
Okay.
approach
So
this?
that's a very good question. You first need to work with someone. You need to work with a good book coach. So they help you identify the idea, help you with identify chapters. I was talking to someone yesterday and he didn't know where to start. I mean, we don't know where to start. And so I asked him a couple of questions, and then all of a sudden it started to make sense to him. And so you want to work with someone because otherwise it's like, what do I write about? Well, yeah, I know I'm in finance and I'm going to write about no, 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 no. You want to get a plan first. So the first thing, Chuck, is you talk to someone, a book coach, someone, a developmental editor, to help you identify what your book's about and how you're different and what your brand is and how you're unique. Then you come up with working chapter titles, knowing that they may change. And there's a way to do that. Then you start writing your book proposal. And as you're writing your book proposal, you start writing 2 chapters. Don't send them the chapter 1. They don't want chapter 1. Start with chapter 3 and then maybe go to chapter 11. And what's so beautiful about a nonfiction book and the way that I teach it is that you can, I have my clients look at the chapters and they've already, created the chapter titles and the description and 4 to 6 bullets, and some of the stories will be one of the bullets or 2 of the bullets. And then and when they have their writing time, they sit and they look at that list and what they're called to write at that writing time. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
I love that. There's times where I've sat down to write something intentionally and the words aren't there. But I like that because it's like, but the words for something else might be there. And
Yeah.
so you don't have to write the whole thing
No.
sequentially.
Not at all. Not at all. In fact, personally, I can't write a book. I cannot write a book unless it's bought. So I can write 2 chapters and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
But
You've learned not to waste your time like with something that's not going to sell. And I think that's a huge lesson too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, I work on the book proposal, I work all of that. And then when it gets bought, then I'm ready. And what's so beautiful about it is it only, I tell my publishers, I only need 4 months to finish the book, and I don't write books full time. I have a system. I do time management. So I have a system. And I just fell into this system many years ago when I started writing my books, and that was very helpful. So I write my books in my part time.
I love that. That's great advice. In fact, we could probably launch into workshop and retreat here so easily done. But I love the passion that you have for this, and I love your message really, because I meet authors all the time. I meet book coaches all the time. Nobody is saying what you're saying. And, I had the good fortune of working with the Rich Dad seminars here in Canada. And so Robert was a master at monetizing his books on the back end. In fact, he told us he didn't really make any money on the front end with the advances and stuff. I mean, he got paid to do it, which is cool, but he made way more money using that to fill his seminars, his retreats, selling the products. that came after that. And
Yeah,
so,
absolutely, and that's
mhm.
why, I love my show, my TV show, The Book Club with Ruth Klein. I get the opportunity to promote authors and really, really get in there and ask them questions. And some people that I've interviewed, they're not authors yet, but they have interesting stories. So I interview them on a book that made an impact in their lives, and that's really turned out to be fun also. Pretty soon I'm going to be interviewing some children's authors.
Oh, wow.
How fun is
I think
that?
people who write for children are just, there's a special place for them for sure because
Yeah.
they're helping shape young minds. I love it.
Right. And children that have
Hmm.
written books. I'm also going to be
Right.
interviewing children who have written books.
I know, that's fascinating, and I've met a few, and it's
Yeah.
like, wow. And I think of my own children, and like they have no interest in writing
Yeah.
a book. But when I meet one that has written a book, I'm like, wow, you are amazing. Speaking of amazing, we could talk all day. We're almost out of time, and I want to make sure that we give people a way to connect with you. And I really think that anyone listening in right now who is on, maybe you've written a book, you're in the process of writing a book, you're thinking about writing the book, somewhere on that journey, and you have been sold on self-publishing, I think you really owe it to yourself to have a conversation with Ruth. Ruth, tell them how they can connect with you, and you've got some ways that they can learn more.
Yeah, I would love to have a conversation and give you the 3 pros and cons for all of them. The traditional publisher, the hybrid publisher, and the self-publishing. Be happy to do that complimentary. So I don't want to, as I was telling you, Chuck, I don't like to do downloads. They just seem so impersonal. And I want to be able to help them, a little bit of a control freak in that way. So it's ruthklein.com /calendar. And it's 30 minutes and it's complimentary. It's, if you were to pay for that, the value is $750. And I'd love to talk to anyone if they have any questions and they don't know which way to go, or they have a question about writing, or they're feeling stuck in their writing. So, Tom Hanks said, "There's no crying in baseball." For me, there's no being stuck in writing. You just need someone to help you kind of see a little more clearly, and then you're off to the races.
I love that. And great domain name, by the way. Very, very easy to remember. But just in case, if you're listening in and you'd like to connect with Ruth, I have put the links conveniently beneath this video. She's mentioned a few other things as well. We're going to have all those links right there. And if you're listening to this on a podcast, just open up your phone, whatever player you're using. All the links to Ruth are right there as well. Ruth, thank you. I love how refreshing this is. I love how, because I'm not kidding when we talk a lot about books, and it's very unique the way you're approaching this, and something that I think people should lean in and learn more about before they make their final decisions. Any final piece of advice or words of wisdom that you want to leave our audience here with today?
Absolutely. Thank you for that opportunity. I just want to tell people that it takes a lot of courage to write a book, and some of the best ideas and the solutions to all problems, I believe, are in graveyards, because their lives were cut off short for whatever reason, or just passing, and they kept their song. They kept that beautiful knowledge, ideas to themselves, because they didn't think that anyone would listen. They didn't think that what they had to say was really different. They didn't think that, why me, like I did? Who do I think I am? Going to write a book and get it published, and someone's going to actually buy it and read it? So I urge you, urge you. It is a legacy. It is a legacy to write a book, and it's in the Library of Congress, and it lasts much longer than you. And you could touch a life. You could save a life. You could help someone with their health. You could help them with their finances. You could change the trajectory of their lives. That's what a book can do. So I urge you to put, as I did eventually, to put my ego aside, because we writers write.
Well said, and a great way to end this episode. Ruth, thank you so much. appreciate you and your time. And to our audience, I want to thank you for being here as well. And if you're still listening to my voice right now, that means something about this episode resonated with you. And the very first thing I want you to do is I want you to take action. I want you to think about something that we talked about here today and take an action towards that. Maybe it's something we reminded you of. Maybe it's something you've been putting off for a while. And maybe it's just as simple as going beneath this video and clicking the link to connect with Ruth, because that could be your next step. And I always say that you might be one collaboration away from a big breakthrough that helps you to make the big impact you want to make. And perhaps Ruth is that person to collaborate with. And I will leave you with this, and that your journey is worth it and your message is worth it. And the impact you want to make is important. And there's really only two things I want to say about that. The only way to fail is to quit. So always keep moving forward, and we will see you on the next one. Thank you.